Hey guys, I'm Danny,
And I'm EJ, and this is the Your Living Proof podcast.
where we talk about addiction and how it affects the family, from the brutal to the beautiful and everything in between. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Your Living Proof podcast. How you doing today, Blondie?
I am so happy that we're back in the studio recording.
We've been radio silent for a little bit, and we apologize. We do. There's a lot of reasons. First of all, summer happens, right? For all of us.
And summer is amazing, and it's also scary.
It's a blessing and the curse. You get to see your kids all the time, spend all this time with family. There's typically family reunions, vacations, but there's also the fact that your kids are home all day.
Facts. Yeah. And you're like trying to do life with like,
Everyone's staying up later.
yeah, a fire alarm going off all the time.
It's been a very crazy summer for us, a very awesome one. We've had some good times, so I'm sure that resonates with all of you. Some good times, some crazy times.
Yeah.
We have added in a few extra elements into our life this summer that we haven't had in past summers, that each one of our children,
Yes. We didn't add them on purpose. They just sort of happened.
each one of our children went to the hospital for different
Yes.
reasons, some more serious
Went
than
to
others.
the emergency room or had overnight
Fell on
stays.
a tramp, had stitches into the knee, was whittling with a stick at camping and cut their hand and need stitches. And then our other son crashed on his motorcycle and ruptured his spleen.
Yeah, ruptured his spleen and got some nice staples in his chest.
And a trip in an ambulance.
Yep, ambulance ride with mom and overnight stay at the hospital. So it's just been
Crazy.
just fun.
I threw my back out, hurt my foot. We think I got West Nile virus, from a mosquito.
Yep.
My wife had a surgery to repair her bladder. It's
Thank
just
you.
been crazy.
Thanks for telling everybody.
I'm sorry. But you know what?
Do
a lot
it.
of the
That's
warrior
all I have to
moms
say.
out. Do it.
Do
Life
it.
changing.
Do it. If you're even on the fence, I'm going to push you right over. Do it.
But seriously, all those things don't make us unique or special, although it is a lot. We all go through those. That wasn't the main reason, however, that we haven't released an episode for, a month or two now.
2 months. And the real reason is because our podcast manager, who we love and who is one of my dearest friends, Heidi, was in a horrific accident on her road bike when she was actually doing her very first road bike race. And she was injured on her bike and was life flighted to the hospital and actually is now rehabilitating every part of her body. And so she broke her neck. She had a spinal cord injury. She broke her clavicle in 4 places. She had no movement in her arms or legs for several weeks, but is now getting stronger and recently went home in a wheelchair still. But we believe she will walk again. But she has been going through the absolute ringer. And so while she's been recovering, we just took that time off and
Tried to figure out a new strategy and
Yep.
a place to go, but our hearts and prayers will remain with her.
Yes.
She helped us. We got to spend time with her every week for over
for the
a year.
past 2 years.
Close
Yeah.
to 2 years, yeah. And it was just incredible. So that is the real reason amongst all of our insanity also. But thankfully, everything we went through was bumps and bruises, and we just keep on trucking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's
do.
get into some principles on how to help our loved one who's suffering from an addiction.
Yeah, I love it, and I'm super happy to be back
I'm
at
gonna
it.
give them a teaser.
Okay, do it. I dare you.
We are going to talk about the secret. How is it that someone overcomes their addiction?
Oh yeah, if we can solve that today, you might
We're getting into it.
be on
We're
a lot of
getting into
boards
it.
in a lot of places.
Yes, we're
You
gonna
might be
get
a
into
UN ambassador somewhere someday. I don't know, but I love that, and I just want to say it's funny that because there's something that Danny says, like I've heard him say it so much, it's just ingrained in my mind, and it's
Other than that, you're beautiful.
yeah, that's it. And it's that there's only one difference. No, the real thing is like don't come in your house with wet socks.
Yeah.
That's also
That's my
ingrained
pet
in my
peeve
mind. That's
as
his pet
kids.
peeve.
So get to it. What is
But
that phrase?
it is. There's only one difference between those who recover from their addiction and those who stay in their dysfunction, and that is their willingness to do whatever it takes and not what they feel like doing. Which I find super interesting because I'm like, we all find motivation in life in different ways, right? Like, I may feel motivated to like eat healthier because I have a vacation coming up and I want to feel really confident in my bathing suit. Or maybe, somebody might be having like a high school reunion happening. And so they want to like get in the best shape they've been in the last 10 years. I mean, we all have these like different reasons to get motivated that might push us.
Maybe you want to get to a home and you got to get out of credit card debt and you have all that financial discipline you're going to have to do.
Right. And so you might have something really real. It could be like a health challenge, right? That like shoves you into this arena where you're like, I don't eat dairy anymore. And I'm, now I'm having to do these really hard and difficult things. And you don't really feel like you have a choice in the matter. But it's just interesting to think about that because that is like a self-motivated place that you find yourself in. There's some goal you want to hit or some feeling you want to have that pushes you towards that. But addiction, it just seems different than that because addicts don't operate the same as everybody else. They're not necessarily willing to be uncomfortable because, quite honestly, their lifestyle really works for them. They get to feel how they want to feel all the time, and the rest of us, we're not used to that.
So there it is. There it is. The secret for anyone to overcome their addiction is to find the willingness to do what is required rather than what they feel like doing. But hold up, because we want to be real. We want this show to be real, to give you the tools you need to help support you. We're going to address the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
The elephant in the room is, where does that willingness come for them?
Right, because they don't have anything really. It doesn't seem like any consequence is enough.
We all struggle with it. We all struggle with falling victim to doing what we feel like doing instead of what is required. You listed some. And it's funny because on that note, we all know that I'm a recovering drug addict and went through the ringer myself. But just in recent years, during my recovery, I got come to the forefront. I was in a different line of work. Life was stressful. I put on a lot of weight. Not in crazy amount, but I put on enough. I had some cushion. And personal note, where did my motivation come to change? Of course, there was a million Mondays I woke up and
feeling terrible.
Today's the first of the month. I'm starting today.
Yeah.
Today's Monday. I'm starting today. But, I ended up doing what I felt like doing, which was laying down or
eating a sleeve of graham crackers before bed.
True.
Yeah, facts.
In the shower, here we go. I got fat shamed by my daughter. She's young. We're taking a shower together. I used to love it. Like we would talk. She would sing. This is a fun time together. And she's like, Dada. I was like, yeah. She's like, oh. And she put her hands on her cheek. You know that face that little girls make when they see Santa or a present or a unicorn or something? She's like, oh. She was so excited. And she's like, starts screaming. She's screaming for her mom. We're having a baby.
Oh.
Because
Yikes.
she wants so bad to have a little sister. She's looking at me in the shower and thinks
that you're gonna be the one to bring it to her.
Yep, because Daddy had a Santa belly.
Yeah.
So there I was going, oh my gosh.
That's the motivation for you.
Well, it wasn't even motivation enough. It's motivation enough that I said, okay, I'm going to go to the gym. Then I went to the gym and they're like, let's get your measurements and do all this. So I went to the university and got a test, it's kind of like a bod pod. It's like a body composition test. I walked out. Granted, I'm still doing a lot. I'm active, and it wasn't that bad. I'm a little dramatic. But the conclusion on this test result was contact your physician and your healthcare provider, make a plan to avoid possible diabetes or heart failure.
Yeah, you're going, oh, okay.
The other stuff I won't get into because it was so eye-opening.
Yeah. So that was motivation.
I found willingness.
Yeah, you did.
Right?
You found it fast.
Found willingness, but my gosh, it took a lot to get to that point.
Yeah.
The fact about your loved one, that person you care about who is suffering, stuck in their dysfunction that manifests itself in their addiction is waiting for that willingness to come. You've already been there, done that. I don't know if it's been months or years. For most of you, probably years, where you've sat there waiting for them to have the willingness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? You've watched the consequences pile up. You've watched things happen. You've watched their life fall apart. You have begged, pleaded with, done heroic efforts to get through to them. All of you. With no result.
Yeah.
We could literally spend hours talking about this. We could. But just know this, the very nature of addiction will not allow for them to do that right now.
Well, that's like a huge Debbie Downer.
Well, we just talked about it. Even all of us, everyone listening in, we've all had the difficulties of doing something we need to know. Even if the doctor came and said, you've got to change or else, you still fall victim to doing what you feel like doing instead of what you're supposed to do or what is required.
Sure.
We're all guilty of it. Your loved one has lost their agency. Their addiction has taken that from them.
Okay. Dan.
What?
That is like the biggest Debbie Downer statement though, for real. Like okay.
I like that little sound effect.
But
okay, I'm sorry.
But seriously, that is, and like I guess it's good that to know that's a fact, and I believe that you know that that's a fact. But here's the thing: what's the solution? What do we do regardless of that fact?
Let's talk about the solution. Before we do, I still have to drive one more nail in, and that is, if there's a sentence that describes why addiction kills more people ages 18 to 45 than cancer and car accidents combined, it is waiting for them to have the willingness, waiting for them to want it for themselves.
Yeah.
But guess what? I get it. I get why you believe that. I do.
Yeah.
Because every one of you out there at some point in your life, maybe currently or recently or in the past, have faced a difficult challenge, something really hard.
Yeah.
And you made that monumental change.
Right.
So you know it's possible. You do know it's possible.
Yes. But.
And you believe that they have to, if they want it for themselves enough, that's the kicker. You've already done it. You've proven it. You've gone through the hard thing. And you feel like they're in the same situation that if they want it bad enough, they can change.
Yeah, and I actually understand that because it's like there's a lot of people that have had that experience with their loved one where they're, you know, they actually did want to change and they went to rehab and then they ended up failing, right? And so it actually just lends itself to this belief that like, well, maybe it's just because they didn't really want it that bad. Like maybe they just really didn't have what it took. They mentally weren't ready yet. They hadn't hit rock bottom yet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people will tell. I would tell myself that, and another factor is, I think it's for any non-drug user, you can see when somebody's life is like spiraling out of control, and you can look at that life and go, okay. They're going to come to their senses and realize
the consequences are all around them, piled
like,
so high they can't see.
They're going to realize like this isn't working. Like I'm losing my kids. I've lost my job, or like I'm having all these horrible consequences, and like to a rational person who isn't using drugs or alcohol to self-medicate, it's clear like this isn't working.
Yep.
And so it makes sense to me that so many people stay stuck in that place where of just like, well, I can't like make them want it. Like I can't.
Correct.
I can't.
And speaking as someone who has lost everything, if you don't know my story already, you probably have heard it, but I lost everything. Like all the way from the most beautiful life, fairy tale life, down to nothing, living in my car, crashing my car, living basically in the street.
Yeah. So what do you do?
I can tell you from living proof that none of those things you're holding on to, those thoughts or those beliefs that a normal, rational person has, even in difficult situations, are true for addiction. So much so, I wrote something down. I'm going to read it because...
Yeah, because you're kind of like a squirrel.
Squirrel. Just see a nut and I go running off.
Yeah,
I do.
Very
I have a little bit
distracted.
of they call attention deficit disorder, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm gonna read you something. For years, because I want this to any mother, sister, brother, husband, grandmother that's listening, I want to make sure that this resonates. For years, I wanted out. For years, my family was paralyzed. I wanted things to be different, and boy, did I try. My poor family anxiously waited for the magical day when I would just wake up and want it for myself. Time and time again, I gave them empty promises of change. Each time, I got their hopes up with a change of season, location, therapist, girlfriend, boy, whatever. And their hearts continued to be crushed. During my addiction, I was surrounded by lots of people, all of whom testified while intoxicated that they were on the verge of this mighty change that was going to happen in their life. Whatever inspired desires they felt to change during that transcending moment of bliss vanished quickly. That is the power of addiction. It fuels insanity. Years and years of doing the same thing and expecting a different result. There are treatment centers throughout the world, almost all of them full of individuals who've been court-ordered by a judge. None of the residents made it there because they wanted to. None of them willingly drove their own car, grabbed their bag, and with a smile walked in the door. They are there so they don't have to be locked up in a cage. No mighty change is coming from that scenario. Your loved one has had many moments they did want it for themselves. When I really think about those days, as hard as it is to remember some of the things this many years down the road, those were the hardest, most darkest, deepest moments when I wanted to change and realized I couldn't. There's countless days they're telling themselves, you know what, today's the last day. This is the last day I'm going to do this. Or tomorrow I have that little bit left or that little bit of that bottle left. Tomorrow's the last day and I'm done. They've attempted every self-tapering or detox method on their own, each time failing. And what does that do? Pushes them deeper and fuels their addiction. They've wanted out of this trap with every fiber of their being, but they can't do it without you. That's the power of addiction. The power of addiction literally has removed their ability to choose anymore. Even when they have had those moments of clarity, even when they see all the pain and damage that's piling up around them, they can't stop, even when they want to.
Gosh dang, you're right, and I hate it. I hate it. So you've made your point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. That's good to know.
But
She's interested.
as a wife, as a mother, as a sister, I want to know what is the solution then. If you are right, let's say you're right.
Okay.
Then what can I do today to contribute to the solution?
And I am right.
I know.
It's not me, though. It's not my philosophy I've come up with. It's just how it is.
I know.
For those in the world of recovery, they all know this as well.
Yeah.
That someone or something must intervene every single time. So the answer is you. And I know that's not fair. They are the ones that have put themselves in this situation. They are the ones that have negatively affected your entire family. They are the ones that have put you in financial ruin and lost your trust and ruined everything. But it will be you. There is no greater threat in the world to addiction than when a family learns to unite, so they understand what's going on, effectively intervene, and how to support a full program of recovery.
Amen. And like I you might want to rewind that and listen to that again, or just say it again, because that is a fact.
Well, and it goes into, you've heard before in a previous episode, there's an episode called, I think it was titled, The Number One Component
Yeah.
to Overcome Any Addiction.
Mm-hmm.
And that is time.
Right.
Time to heal. Who holds you accountable to that time? Who's the one that keeps you doing what you have to do to give you time to heal? Again, most facilities are full of people that have been court-ordered by a judge. And you know what? Granted, for all transparency, some of them do get enough time that all of a sudden there's a shift, a change. They're not just doing it to stay out of jail.
Right.
For the people who have real success and dig their heels in and get to work, it's those whose family has put them in a situation where they've got to do this. So yes, I will admit, because it's one of the topics that brings up the most argument with people is them having to want it for themselves.
Yes.
So I will admit, maybe this one time, that in order for them to recover, they do have to want it for themselves.
Yes, but
it will not be what gets the process started.
No, and that is a mic drop right there. That is a mic drop right there. It will not be what gets the process started.
There will come that day when they want it for themselves, if given the opportunity or chance. And what does that mean? I don't care if it's locked up in a jail cell. That's where some people have found it, although it's a terrible environment and little inspiration comes from there, I know from experience. But if they're in a facility, some type of behavioral health facility where people are caring for them, watching them, they're safe, they're unable to use or put these poisons in their body, there will come a day
Yeah.
where they wake up and go, you know what, dang it, I'm going to try this. I want this for myself.
Yeah. They want something different.
But someone or something had to intervene to get them to that point.
Right. So why have to wait for it to be a judge or a jail sentence? Why not just the family unite and learn how to do this? Well, I mean, I'll say I know the answer to that. It's because families don't realize that our company exists and that that's exactly what we do is help people do exactly that.
Yep, it's a missing link.
But it's a missing piece to the foundation of somebody's recovery is a family. I don't care what your family looks like. It doesn't matter. But it is a group of people around them that support them and keep them accountable through the process and learn exactly what that means. And guess what? No one is born knowing what that means.
I've lost track of how many of these I call them family councils. Other people in the world refer to it as like pre-intervention.
Yeah.
Where family comes together. I've lost count of how many. And when you sit in there, it's crazy how everyone's been affected differently and they're all coming at this at such different ways.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, of course.
Right? There's oh my gosh, I feel so bad for him because this happened. And the other one's like, I hate him. They've taken my parents away from me. I did perfect. You know, the resentments that someone's building up.
Everybody has a different angle.
Different angle. Some people want to just fix a problem. Some people want them to knock it off. Some people, every angle approaches these situations. And so it's so ineffective.
Yeah, right.
When that doesn't happen with any other injuries or illnesses we have. Also, not only do you and your family need to learn how to effectively intervene to get them to a place where hopefully over a couple days or weeks they have a chance, but you have to learn how to keep them accountable, how to keep them there. Because they will have that day when they wake up and want it for themselves. But the other component is that they need time.
Yes.
They need to stay put and they need support. And eventually and always, they leave any type of program or facility, and where do they go?
Back to what they know.
Back to you.
Yeah.
And they will be with you forever.
Yeah.
God intended it to be that way. That's what family is.
Yes.
It's a team that we get forever.
Yes.
So again, there is no greater threat in the world to addiction than a family that effectively learns to intervene and how to truly support their loved one in a full program of recovery. For you or any family out there, including my own, the insanity of my addiction dominated my family for years. And once my family got strategic, got some help, came together, learned, put together resources, received the playbook that I always like to say.
Yeah.
My addiction of many years came to a halt in a matter of months.
Yes.
Once they learned how to do this.
Yes. So honestly, if you're listening right now and you're going, oh my gosh, this is what my family needs, this is what we're looking for, hooray. We have an awesome opportunity for you to learn all about this program, this playbook that we're talking about. You can go to our website, take the free masterclass. It's a free class where Danny talks all in depth about this topic, okay? Go to our website, check it out. If it's something that you feel that your family would benefit from, which if you love an addict, your family would benefit from this in a way that you can't comprehend, then you can join the program and you can have weekly support. You can have hourly support through the online course. I mean, it is truly the missing piece for families who are pulling out their hair going, is this Christmas going to be the same as last Christmas? Are we going to be doing the same thing? Are we going to be pulling our hair out? Are we going to be at each other's throats? And this is the thing that pushes change to happen in everyone. What's interesting is it's the family first that unites and changes, and then it propels that person.
There's such beauty in it. When the family does that, it changes everything for the addict.
It does.
And I'm sorry if the outcome for your loved one is not good, that they live on the streets forever, they end up incarcerated for quite some time, or they die from this. This allows everyone to know that they did what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, that you really did do every single thing you possibly could.
And I do want to address one last thing, because I know you're going to close up with this awesome serenity prayer for families.
Yes.
I get it. I know a lot of you have gotten to this point, and you've even tried and attempted, but there's also a lot of people who are scared.
Oh, yeah.
Because if we do this, if we get tactical and we get really efficient and we get dialed in to what we're going to do, to set healthy boundaries and to get you help and give you no other choice, they are terrified
Yep.
of what could happen.
Yep.
That if we push too hard, you'll never see them again. If we shake the cage too hard, they'll just disappear, overdose, or die.
Yep.
Those fears are legitimate. But you cannot keep waiting for that day when they're going to wake up with the willingness. You've got to create it.
Well, because then you'll live with a lifetime of regret.
And not only learn how to create it, but what it will take if given that opportunity to help them.
Yes.
Meaning that full program of recovery and how you support them.
That's right. I love that. So, you guys, I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer for families. You might want to memorize it because it is the truth. And here it is. God, grant me the serenity to accept that I cannot change other people, and give me the courage to change the person that I can, and the wisdom to know that it is me. And I truly hope if anything in this podcast today touched you, you head straight to the website and you register for the masterclass. It will change. It will change the way you view your current situation. I promise you that.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. We'll see you next week.